Justice is meant to protect the innocent, but what happens when the system betrays them? For James Holloway, that betrayal cost 20 years of his life. In mid-90s America, a time when crime rates were high, communities lived on edge, and public faith in law enforcement wavered between fear and trust. Cleveland, with its industrial decline, carried a gray heaviness in the air. Streets were lined with abandoned factories, liquor stores, and rows of houses where curtains twitched at the sound of sirens. In this atmosphere of suspicion and desperation for justice, one crime would ignite a storm that consumed an innocent man. James Holloway, a 26-year-old mechanic, soft-spoken, known for his loyalty to family and love of tinkering with old cars. He had no criminal record. He was accused for the murder of Angela Carter, a 32-year-old nurse, admired for her compassion. She was found murdered in her apartment. She was last seen leaving her late shift at the hospital. On the night of March 3, 1995, Angela Carter failed to show up for a dinner with her sister. Concerned, her family went to her apartment. The door was ajar. Inside, the small flat was in disarray, drawers pulled out, a broken lamp on the floor. Angela was found lifeless, strangled with a cord from her own bedside lamp. The brutality of the scene shocked even seasoned officers. Newspapers quickly dubbed it the Angel of Mercy murder. Detectives scrambled for leads. Within 48 hours, they landed on James Holloway. Why him? He lived 2 blocks away, and a witness claimed they had seen a man matching his description near Angela's building. Adding to the suspicion, James had once serviced Angela's car. It was a thin connection, but it was enough. Detective Benton, known for his fast approach, rising pressure to solve cases, he was determined to close this one quickly. He built his case on circumstantial evidence. A neighbor swore they saw James' blue jacket that night. Fibers similar to those in Angela's carpet were found on James' trousers. Under intense interrogation, James wavered. Tired, frightened, he said, "I don't remember where I was exactly at that time." That slip was painted as guilt. Forensic science in the 90s lacked today's precision. DNA testing was in its infancy, and the partial prints lifted from the apartment were dismissed as inconclusive. Despite no physical evidence linking him to the murder, James was charged. The courtroom was a theater. The prosecution portrayed James as a jealous, rejected admirer, despite no evidence he had ever pursued Angela. Benton testified confidently, painting James as the only plausible suspect. The defense, being underfunded and overwhelmed, struggled to counter the narrative. They highlighted the lack of DNA, the unreliability of the eyewitness, but their voices were drowned out by public outrage. The jury took less than 4 hours. We, the jury, find the defendant, James Holloway, guilty of murder in the first degree. James' mother screamed in the gallery. James himself stood frozen, whispering, "I didn't do this." He was sentenced to life in prison. In prison, James endured violence, isolation, and the crushing weight of knowing he was innocent. Yet he never gave up hope. He wrote letters, hundreds, to lawyers, journalists, anyone who might listen. Most went unanswered. Meanwhile, outside, Maria Holloway became her son's fiercest advocate. She held vigils, contacted innocence projects, and kept James' case alive when the world had forgotten. Then came the breakthrough in 2015, the Midwest Innocence Project took interest. Advances in DNA testing offered new possibilities. The team petitioned to re-examine evidence from Angela's apartment, specifically the cord used in the murder. This time, the results were undeniable. DNA found on the cord and under Angela's fingernails matched not James, but David Pierce, a man who, at the time of the murder, had a record of burglary and assault in the same neighborhood. For 20 years, his name had been buried in police files. When confronted, Pierce initially denied involvement. But faced with mounting evidence, he confessed in a plea bargain, admitting he broke into Angela's apartment intending to steal. When she came home unexpectedly, he panicked. James Holloway finally walked out of prison, a free man at 47. Cameras captured his first breath of freedom. His mother, frail but triumphant, embraced him through tears. A judge formally vacated his conviction, declaring, "What happened to James Holloway is a grave miscarriage of justice." James sued the state for wrongful imprisonment and won a settlement. But no amount of money could restore the 2 decades lost: his youth, his dreams, his life with his family. Detective Benton, long retired, refused to comment. For Angela's family, closure was bittersweet. The true killer had been caught, but the justice system had failed them too, allowing the wrong man to suffer while the real perpetrator lived freely for years. For James, freedom came with scars. He once told a reporter, "I went into prison a young man full of hope. I came out an old man who doesn't know the world anymore. I lost 20 years, but I refused to lose what's left." His story became a symbol, a warning of how fragile justice can be when haste and pressure outweigh truth. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime narratives that explore justice, truth, and the human impact behind the headlines.